All right, let's get down to a very serious topic. George Zimmerman goes on a Fox News show last night with Wallbanger, who, I'm going to ask you something. You know what came out just an hour ago? George Zimmerman prosecution may use TV interview as evidence. So Hannity, either on purpose or inadvertently, set up Zimmerman for a fall. George Zimmerman's television interview, in which he said he had few regrets about the night he killed teenager Trayvon Martin, has been entered as possible evidence in his upcoming murder trial. In a wide-ranging interview with Fox News' Wallbanger, Zimmerman, appearing articulate and calm, said he neither regretted carrying a gun nor pursuing the 17-year-old Martin. I feel that it was all God's plan, he told the uneducated Wallbanger. When asked if there was anything you might do differently from the Wallbanger, Zimmerman fell into the trap and said, no, sir. This morning, the prosecution entered the tape of the interview with Wallbanger into discovery and could attempt to admit it as evidence in Zimmerman's trial on charges of second-degree murder. So in other words, there's several stories here. One, he never should have agreed to the interview. B, Wallbanger should apologize profusely for having set Zimmerman up like this. Even by accident, Wallbanger owes him for setting him up like this. You could argue that Fox News and Wallbanger committed a great crime by taking this poor guy who doesn't have any skills in the media and manipulating him into an interview number one, telling him we'd be friendly to you number two, and then setting him up to say something that'll be used to burn him. I mean, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about Wallbanger on Fox News setting Zimmerman up, where the prosecution today pounced on the interview, and they're going to say they're going to use the TV interview as evidence? They introduced it today in Discovery. George Zimmerman said that the shooting of Trayvon Williams was God's plan on Wallbanger's show. That's an amazing story. And today, the prosecution leapt into the fray. And I believe that Wallbanger is liable here. I'm not a lawyer, but something's wrong with this picture. When set up with a question by Wallbanger, if there was anything you might do differently, that was asked by Wallbanger Hannity. Zimmerman responded, no, sir. Now they're going to crucify him with this. Now you could say, well, that's his problem. He didn't have to go on the show. He should not have answered the question. I don't know that absolves. I would never set someone up like that. I wouldn't say to a guy who's in a murder case, was there anything you might do differently? Well, what's a leading question? That's a prosecutor's question. And although Hannity never went past high school, he should know that. You don't have to have gone to college to know that. I mean, even though the most experience he's ever had in the world prior to being on radio was as putting up drywall, and I have nothing against drywall. They teach that at San Quentin, how to put up drywall, and I understand that. He got very lucky filling in for Rush, and then he turned himself into a big star. But don't you think that Wallbanger, I affectionately call him that, set up Zimmerman by saying, is there anything you might do differently? That's a leading question. And by the way, if I were a defense attorney, I would object to such a question and not permit it to be asked of my client. But there he was, set up by Hannity Wallbanger. George Zimmerman said that the shooting of Trayvon Williams was God's plan. Very smart move that was. You know, there's a certain point where you just keep your mouth shut. Who advised this one? I mean, you go talk to a dummy like that, what do you think's going to happen? You talk to Wallbanger, what do you think's going to happen? You're going to screw your life up. He goes on Wallbanger's show, and Wallbanger seduces him to saying that it was God's will to kill Trayvon Williams. That should really help him with the jury. Good job, Wallbanger. You really did him a favor.